Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through the industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Kyle Newell, entrepreneur, the human strength expert, CEO of Newell Strength, and author of the Panda Diet. Welcome to the show, Kyle.
Thanks for having me, AJ. I'm really excited to be here. Reach a lot of people and spread my message. I know it can help them.
Right. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India. It's a global podcast, so a lot of people across the globe will get it. But here in India itself, there are a lot of people who like to learn from you about living an unconventional life. My first question to you, Kyle, is why to go for an unconventional life? Isn't normal okay in these times? What do you say? Let's start with that.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think normal. I think normal is okay if you want to have an average life, right? So the way I always looked at it is, even if you don't know what to do, right? Whatever the topic is, let's say that's relationship, that's financial, that's health. Even if you had no idea what to do and you just did the opposite of what the masses were doing, if you did the opposite of what everybody else was doing, you're probably going to be on the right path. So that's one of the reasons for being unconventional. And then what I have found throughout the years is, especially with fitness, right? That's my background: fitness and nutrition, mental health, mental toughness, discipline. Usually what the masses are doing is wrong, and they just stay in this rut. And every year they think it's going to be different if they go back and do the same thing, which is really the definition of insanity. So to me, the worst thing in the world for myself would be to be average.
Right. Can you repeat that last part to be?
Yeah, for me, the worst thing in the world would be to be average. Because if you're average, you're just like everybody else. You're not meant to be like everybody else. You have a unique fingerprint that is your soul, as a human being. And that soul wants to express itself. That soul has a gift to give the world. And if you're just going along with the herd, right, you're never going to express that. You're just going to kind of die with that song in your heart. You're going to die with that spirit unfulfilled. So that's my take on it.
Right, Kyle. You're majored in fitness management, so you
Yes.
could have gone the average way. You did not, and
I did
then
not.
yeah. Why is it so? Because your mission is to inspire people to transform their lives. What happened? Can we know a bit of about the past, where it became about the mission to transform people's lives and not just about fitness management? You do fitness, self improvement, and but it's more on the through the diet and all that stuff. So we'll come to that. But before, just a bit to know the man behind what you are doing at the moment.
It's a great question. Since I was younger, going all the way back to high school, and I really got into fitness and reading books and studying and really applying stuff, really into sports. Basketball was, one of my main sports, very disciplined with that. But as I started getting into fitness, a lot of people would start asking me for advice, right? And then over the years at the first gym that I was going to, I would have even older gentlemen come up to me and say, "Man, you have the light. You have the light that other people want to light their torches with." And I'd be like, "Yeah, all right, that's cool." And it wasn't about the knowledge. I was inspired to transform my life. I competed in bodybuilding a number of times. I would be on these missions, kind of like these vision quests. And more people would start asking me, "Hey, what are you doing?" And it wasn't about the training. Like, my training was unconventional at the time. My nutrition was unconventional, but it was about this. It was about the inspiration. It was about the inspiration. And now I just use fitness really for myself. It's about my mindset. It's about altering my mind. And I use fitness as the doorway to transform other people's lives. Once I get them a little bit of discipline and they get moving and they start feeling better mentally and their energy's better, now they start having some self-belief, and that self-belief leads to more self-confidence, which leads to better self-talk, which is going to lead them down the path of transforming their life.
Right, Kyle. Right. Fitness plus nutrition, and in nutrition, you talk less about eating and more about fasting.
Yes,
How
sir.
does that part come in? Because one is the extreme sort of fitness, heavy lifting, or I don't know, but if you can explain us, tell us about that particular thing. What you call is the mind map coaching, and maybe the Panda diet and all that. You have written the book, also author of the Panda diet. You are. So tell us about both the eating part and the fasting part and the fitness part all together that can transform one's life.
Sure. So when I take people through my Panda challenge, right, which is like a 6-week challenge we run, it's about giving them discipline over this one area of their life. Many people across the world have dieted. They've done the traditional, what I call the traditional North American diets. They cut calories, they cut out carbohydrates, they do all this crazy stuff that they don't enjoy, right? And that ties into the mind map piece that I teach. Mind mapping is really about how your brain forms habits. Your brain isn't going to form a habit around anything it doesn't find pleasurable to do. So in 2014, I began my journey of fasting while I was still competing in bodybuilding, and I was just dabbling in it. It was a 16-hour fast at the time. And in 2019, I dove deeper into the research and I started doing 48-hour fast, 72-hour fast, one meal a day, to the point where it just really took off in my everything. I'm younger now. I feel younger now than I was 10 years ago. Right. And I started teaching this to other people, how to do this. And they've been stuck. They hit plateaus with their other diets and training. And they do this and they blast right through those plateaus. And I tell people, and I really coach them on, listen, the exercise is great for your brain, as I was just saying. It's great for your joints, your muscles. It's not to lose fat, though. That's not how it works. You're not going to burn calories and cut calories. This doesn't work. So I take that unconventional approach, and it works because we're focusing on the hormones, but more so the Panda fasting, the discipline carries over to every other part of your life, and it starts leading to self-mastery. And that's really what I'm after, is control this through the fasting, abstain from food for a period of time. A lot of people, I like them to start out with a 48-hour fast. And I do that because they build their confidence right away. They knock out any fear they have. Fasting has been done throughout the years, for thousands of years in every religion known to mankind. And it's kind of what I would like to call hidden knowledge. It's been kind of taken out of the mainstream. Now you're starting to hear more about it. But fasting is kind of my foundation to training. And I believe you should train hard while you're fasting. That'll go against any advice you hear out there from people that in the medical field. But you need to, and if you're not there yet, you build up to it. But you want to train while you are fasting. I train hard. I train a couple times a day. Some days on the average week, I'm training 10 times a week, and I'm eating 5 to 6 meals a week. So, you can do the math on that. And I push myself hard. And then I'm able to see what is possible for the human body, because it's really about what can your mind handle? What can your mind allow? That's really what it is. And then I just teach that to other people.
Right. 2-3 things here, Kyle.
Yeah.
One is about the Panda, the Panda diet. I thought, I don't know much about pandas, but I saw a movie that was about the panda, a Kung Fu Panda, and there that younger chap, he wanted a lot of food to eat, and he wanted more and more and more. Whereas any client comes to you, you start with a 48-hour fast followed by one meal a day. A client will run away like this. Who wants to come to you and you put them on a diet or a fast, just for 48-hour fast, and then you want only one meal a day? How does it work? Who comes to you? How does it work actually on the ground? And what
Yeah.
is it? What does it actually lead to? Several
Sure.
things I'm asking at the same time. Second part is, it's good you talked about the fasting part. That this is knowledge. This is something which has been there for thousands of years. Now only you people like you have understood. I'll tell you what. In India, fasting is a part of our everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen my grandmother fast on a weekly basis, on one occasion or the other, on one pretext or the other. And specific once a day. Many a times I've seen her eating only once a day. We have different festivals where people eat very frugally. Whatever way, maybe our ancestors found it the convenient way to link it with some religious rituals and all that stuff. But the whole idea was to put into them this whole knowledge about the benefits of fasting. But now a lot of diet and all that, keto diet, intermittent diet, and now you talk about the panda diet. So how do you look at overall all these things together and help us understand a lot of common people in India? Perhaps a lot of people will understand what you are trying to say, and perhaps a lot of people in our neighborhood. But what about the global world? A lot of people may find it difficult to see people who like to eat food. There is this whole consumerism culture. A lot of people want to talk about different sort of diets. Everybody wants to push something up, and you are talking about fasting. So I know I've asked a lot of things together, but since these are all so related, Kyle, and you are an expert, you are the master for today, I'm sure you'll be able to put them together and help the audience understand all about fasting, about dieting, how fasting is different than dieting, how one can wade through these difficult waters about what to eat and what not to eat through you and transform their life. Over to you.
Sure. Great questions. Let me start with the panda. The panda, as you can see with my hat, it has nothing to do really with what, and I get that question a lot, nothing to do with what pandas eat. It was just kind of an inspiration. I was drawn to the hat, and now I have obviously my whole line with that stuff. And I started researching the panda, and the panda has like a duality, right? It's viewed as this cuddly bear, but it'll rip you to shreds if you get in a cage with it, right? So it's got this duality. So I kind of connected with that right away, and then the black or white aspect of it. I A huge part of what I teach with the panda diet, and then we'll go over the word diet here in a second too, is the word decision. And that really means to sever, to cut yourself off from any other possibility. So it's black or white. You're either fasting or you're not. It's not, let me see how I feel. Let me try to control my portions. It's none of this silly stuff. So it's black or white. We're fasting or we're not. Now, as far as diets, the only reason I call it the panda diet is people are familiar with the word diet. This is not a diet in the sense of let me go on something for 6 weeks and see what happens. Again, your brain isn't going to form a habit around it. That's one of the reasons diets fail. Traditional diets, especially here in North America, what happens is people cut calories and they start trying to exercise more. And then what happens, their hunger goes up and their metabolic rate comes down. When I teach them the longer form fasting, metabolic rate goes up, hunger hormones go down. The exact opposite thing happens. So it's very powerful. And I have tapped into some ancient knowledge with this. And it's not something that I discovered. I'm just bringing it to the surface for people that are in my world. And it's that mental, right? It's gaining the mental mastery. Now, all of a sudden, they start seeing results. Their energy is better. That's something you'll see with the fasting. Energy is better. It's a big spiritual component, right? So I study the Bible a lot. And the Bible says, not if, it says when you pray and when you fast, right? When, not if. So, and that's throughout every religion, like you said, in India, wherever you're at. And this is something that has been taught forever. So I take that and I coach people through it. And you say, who comes to that? Like who would sign up for that? So this one we're doing now, actually, we finished this week with the current group. There's 40 students in it. And they're crushing it. They get results. They love it. They love the mindset because I teach a lot of mindset with it. I teach about how the brain works. I teach about inspiration, staying internally motivated. And they come to me because they've tried everything else and they're frustrated and it doesn't work. So finally they said, man, maybe I'll try something unconventional. Let me give this guy a shot. And I guarantee results when people do this because I know what happens hormonally when people do this. I know how the body, I know all the physiology behind this. But again, that's almost secondary to what it does to the brain and the self-belief. So I hope that answers some of those questions.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm curious to know where exactly did you come to understand about this fasting part? Because it is so much part of our Indian culture that and earlier people used to talk about it, but Indians are not pushy in that sense that they will ask somebody else to do it. It was like yoga.
Yeah.
It's been there for centuries, but people have rediscovered it in different forms. The good part is that whatever you do, at least you are doing some real yoga in whatever ways you are doing that. and it's benefiting you. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's about the connecting with your body better, breathe better. Pranayam, that's the breathing. Same way is the fasting. But when somebody else talks about it, you become curious. Who told you about this? How
You
did
know
you
what?
come to learn about it?
It's a
So
good
that's the
question.
curious part. I'm sure a lot of my Indian audience would like to understand.
Yeah. So to be honest, in 2014, when I was getting ready, that was the last time I competed in bodybuilding. And as I was getting ready for that contest, I'm always researching stuff, right? I'm gonna see how do I get to be the leanest I've ever gotten. I had been down to 4% body fat, like really, really low body fat level. And I'm reading this book, and this guy's talking about stubborn fat, right? Stubborn fat for men is typically our lower belly, our love handles, our lower back. For women, it's typically the glutes and the thighs, hamstrings. And part of the reason it's stubborn is it has a very poor blood supply. Now, in this book that I'm reading, at that point, the guy talks about really the only way that you can increase blood flow, which is step one of fat loss, to those areas, is through fasting. So it just clicked in my head. I said, I'm going to do that. And I started the next day. And I went from 4 meals a day, and I was starving myself at that point, 1,500 calories a day. And I brought it down to 2 meals a day, same amount of food. And I noticed an immediate improvement, mental clarity, energy, all this stuff. So initially, it was purely for cosmetic reasons. Then in 2019, the inspiration struck because I've been doing it since that point. And I kind of said, you know what? Let me research further and see this and see what's possible. I started researching 2-day fast, 3-day fast. Started reading all these different texts, reading different stuff by different doctors. There's not a super lot out there about what I wanted to know. So I started going down the rabbit hole, researching, but really experimenting on myself, really experimenting. So that first summer that I did this, in 2019 with the Panda, I did a 72-hour fast every week, which I'm doing the month of February right now. And I've done all types of, so I just keep experimenting with it as it comes to me. And then I teach it and I do it. And I know I'm tapping into something ancient in its wisdom, and I don't take credit for it, but it's coming to me. The more I do this, and I tell people, once you start with it, you'll just get these inspirations. Let me try a 3-day fast. Let me go a day without eating. And it just kind of builds. And it's something you look forward to because you feel better and you're building the mental discipline. And to me, it's like I did something in the fall. I called it my Indigo Panda, right? It's based off this concept of indigo children, which I won't go too far into here. But what it was, and it was really a spiritual quest for me. There's a 5-day fast, break, 4-day fast, break, 3-day fast, break, 2-day fast, break. So in the span of 2 weeks, I had 4 times. I did 14 workouts in that period of time. And I finished it with a 12-hour silent walk overnight. I hiked through the mountains for 12 hours, no phone, nothing. And it really transformed my life. And that was just recently. And it's just stuff like that, right? I experiment. I said, what happens? Okay, let me teach this to somebody else. So that's really where it comes from. I don't take too much credit. It was initially for cosmetic reasons. And then I started realizing all the health benefits. And now it's really about the mind and the spirit benefits.
Right, right, Kyle. And do you also ask your clients? You talk about taking a cold water bath early in the morning as
Oh,
part
yeah.
of this fitness. Do you also advise your clients? How do they take that? And why do you go for a cold water bath early in the morning?
It's great. I actually just did it a little while ago. I mean, people know I do it, but I know that there's a boundary between what I do and what are other people willingly going to do, right? Like, seemingly like the 48-hour fast is a stretch for a lot of people. And I put the stuff out there, like the cold bath that I do. Really, it piques people's interest in what is he doing with this. And really, I learned it from Wim Hof, who's kind of world famous in that regard. But I look at it as it's never easy to do. Every morning, I dread it. But when I get in it, the only way I could control myself is through my breathing. So I got to go right to my deep breathing. Otherwise, you just start panicking in there. And it's 3-4 minutes. And every time when I get out, AJ, it's, man, you know what? I did something tough already. I already succeeded today. And then as far as what it does for dopamine, I think dopamine levels increase like 200% and they stay elevated. Metabolic rate goes up like 200 to 400%, stays elevated for a period of time. It's very good for the vascular system. So I do it. I don't expect many other people to do it, really, because People don't like discomfort, but again, that's what I'm trying to do with the fast: expose them to discomfort, expose them to feeling a little bit uncomfortable, and then you start getting curious about the other stuff. So, I do that. And then you probably saw the other thing that I do. Or one of the other, I do a lot of strength, and this path has just continued to unfold for me. It's not like I'm out there looking for what's the next strange thing I can do. It just kind of happens. So now I also do the urine therapy, which I know in India I've done a lot of research. It's been done there throughout the years, even with the snake charmers with the cobras, they keep urine with them. So I looked at all the health benefits of that, and I tell people about that I do that because you know what, it might help somebody. It's up to you if you want to do it, but I go over it, and I always research this stuff. But the biggest research that I do on any of this stuff, the cold tub, urine therapy, the fasting, is on myself. I internalize the knowledge, so it's my truth. I don't care what any studies say. I could speak from experience, and I teach a lot of people this. So then I get feedback, particularly with the fasting. I have a large pool of people that can say, "Here's what happens when you do this." I don't care what any research paper says. This is what actually happens. So that's a little bit about a couple of the other strange habits that I have.
Not strange, it's the word, because somebody may find it new, so they may find it different. But the snake charmers part, even I have come to know from you. I have not done that much of research, but I know again the urine therapy is part of the Indian whole discussion. And whenever people have talked about it earlier, if people may not go for it, but they would not look at it with cynicism.
Yeah, yeah,
A lot of people have done that, especially people from the more educated side, maybe outside world. Uh, but with time, it has its own reason. I don't know what stand to take, but even Mahatma Gandhi used to say a lot about this particular stuff. Now also a lot of Indian therapy is around cow urine therapy. Cows, and especially indigenous cows, they are considered very sacred in
yeah,
India, and they have their own ways. I know about this because I personally, when I was younger, we had a cow at home, and we used to it used to be part of your daily life. It used to give you a lot of things, and it was like any other family member. And even in today's time, a lot of households, the first uh, roti or bread that you make for the day or for even every meal, that is for the cow first. And
sacred.
so that
Yeah,
and it's a way of showing that gratitude and that sacredness to the to the animal, you can say. But then it all depends on how you take. But coming to the point of fitness and fasting, Kyle, is that what do you want people to achieve through fitness and practicing? For many, it may be a lot of hardships. It's like you've got only one life, and you are asking them to just try hard and lose weight or add weight, and to not only eat once a day, many a time. So what exactly is the mission to achieve through all these hardships, if I may call it that?
yeah. It's most people never figure out or find out what they're capable of. And with the fitness and the body composition and the weight, I don't even really focus on that stuff because that's an outcome, of your inner belief. So with all this hard stuff, right, and the fasting, the training that I do, the stuff that I put my body through, and then I teach people, it all of a sudden, if they stick with it, their life gets easier in almost every regard because they've gotten tougher, they've gotten mentally tougher, they've developed more discipline, and they start realizing, hey, you know what? I feel great. My energy feels great. Energy to me is the number one asset. Energy is the number one thing that we have. As far as once energy's gone, life is gone. So it's not a focus. It depends what you focus on, right? But I don't focus on, okay, let's get you down 50 pounds. And I've helped plenty of people lose even up to 100 pounds. But that doesn't happen unless they really develop the inner game, right? They develop the mindset. And that's where the tough stuff comes into play. You're working on their mindset. It's the inner change leads to the outer change. So it might look wild on the surface, what I teach, but again, I know what works. I know how to hit the right buttons in the brain for my, and I do this on myself. That's what I say. I'm always I'm always struggling with stuff. And I just really share what I do with myself, and I share it with other people. And if other people want to be open to that, they want to try it, the results, speak for themselves, to the point where it's just been really neat. It's been neat, and it's not really caring what anybody else thinks, right? And that's part of the unconventional path.
Right, right, Kyle. So, how do people connect with you? What is it that they can expect by, by getting your coaching for self improvement? How do they connect with you?
So right now, where we're having everybody go is to my Instagram, the Panda Man Official. We've been working really hard with that, and really putting out some great content over there. So the Panda Man Official, and then through that, I just interact with people on the direct messages. It's real simple. They get to connect with me. It's not some automated message. It's me and them going back and forth. They decide that they want to hire me for coaching. I'm going to transform their life, because again, I know how to ask the right questions. I know how to hold them accountable. I know how to get into the brain. And then I just lay out my protocols for them as far as, okay, this is what we're doing with training. This is what we're doing with your fasting. And we go down that systematically. And people, I have clients that have been with me over 10 years, which is insane when you think about it. They know what they need to know, but they're trying to tap into that inspiration. And I continually pride myself on always evolving and learning. So I know that anybody that comes to me, when I get into their head, it's game over. They're going to transform. So that's what they can expect.
Right, right. And where do they get what this book called The Panda Diet, written by you? And what exactly is in this book, if you can tell a bit about that?
Sure. So in the Panda Diet book, the easiest place to get it is Amazon. I have it on the website too, but Amazon's the easiest, And what's in it is the exact outline of what protocols to follow. So my black version is the 48-hour fast followed by 1 meal a day. What can you be drinking in that? So we put different salts in the water. How do you break a fast? And then I go into different aspects of fasting with the science. But all the feedback I've gotten on it is that it's a very easy read. It's entertaining. I don't make it overly scientific, but it is about 85 pages, and it's got everything in there that you need to know about fasting. So when people begin that path, I really tell them to, whatever it is, whatever path you're beginning to, immerse yourself in it, study it while you're doing it, because then you internalize it more. So the Panda Diet just I tell people, you don't need, if you don't, you're the type of person that doesn't need coaching, then just get the book and follow it, and it will work. What's in there, but it's all laid out within there.
Right, right, Kyle. Now let me come to the urine therapy. I wanted to understand more about your research into this. What exactly led you on urine therapy implement on you? What was your finding of that research? I have not done any research. I know we have a lot of talk around this, and especially we know about how individuals' urine can be helpful, but what we have heard part is that about cow urine, but here we are talking about the personal urine therapy. What led you to do research? What research, in your research, what did you find? And then finally, now you implemented it and you are doing it and having a glass of your own urine. So that, what is the result that you want to achieve through that?
Okay, so we'll start with where I found out about this. So as I was saying, I'm always, if I'm out for I have like a big weight vest. Sometimes I'll do walks right on the hill, right down the street. And when I do that, I'm always listening to stuff to learn. So I'm listening to this interview one day. This is back in November with this doctor. And they're talking about, and I don't know what people's beliefs are that listen to this, but they're talking about the blood clots that have become a major issue after people have started getting the COVID vaccine and whatnot. Okay. And I didn't get that. That's a whole nother thing. I don't believe in any of that stuff. I've got supreme health, so I don't need any of that outside stuff. But the doctor's talking about, he goes, listen, this is going to sound strange, but really there's compounds that we know that are in your urine that will dissolve blood clots like that. And we've known this for a long time. So right now he's saying that's the main thing. If you have gotten the shot and you're worried about this, urine therapy. So that wasn't a concern for me, but I said, whoa, this is interesting. So then I go back, he referenced a few books. I got the books and immediately, just like with the fasting, I read a few things that afternoon. The next day I started doing it because to me, it's like, why think about it? Just do it and then see what happens. What's the worst that's going to happen to me? Maybe I get sick. So I started researching it in your own urine. This is a big misconception. Again, it's almost to me like it's something like fasting that has almost been hidden from us, right? And I believe that there's a lot to that. You know, the powers that be don't necessarily want us being supremely healthy, but there's over 2,600 nutrients, enzymes, hormones, vitamins, stem cells that are identical to your body, and it's highly filtered through your kidneys. So it's basically highly filtered blood plasma identical to your blueprint that you're putting back in. And it's not waste; it's just excess that it doesn't need at that specific moment. We put it back in; it's highly refined. Again, your body will take what it needs and get rid of the rest. So it's just unbelievable as far as like if you took that, AJ, and you put that into supplement form, it would cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for like a 1 month supply of that. But you could do it every morning. Now, here's the thing: is most people they just can't get over that concept in their head, so they're going to miss out on it. But again, I'm living proof. You know, I feel unbelievably healthy. You know, I do that. And I think it's all the stuff I do combined, but it's got antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral components within it, anti-cancer components within it. So there's just so many good things to it. But people got to do their own research and decide, okay, and people get held up because they care too much about what other people think. Right. Well, first of all, nobody has to know if you choose to. I just share everything I do because I know it's going to inspire at least one other person. You don't have to share it with anybody, and worry about yourself, your own health. How can you increase your energy and your well-being? Because once you do that, then you can give your gift even more to the rest of the world.
Right, right. And in this whole process of research of the urine therapy, what research, what books did you research from India? What exactly was the finding from India, specifically about this concept?
Let me see if I got a book right here. Hold on. So I think I have 3 books on this, but if I go to, this is a book right here, Golden Fountain. Okay, I believe the guy is Dutch that wrote it, but early on, he's talking about, if I can find it, but he references, so first, All India Conference on urine therapy. And he's going over a lot of different conferences and whatnot. That's where he went for his initial studying this guy, Dr. G.K. Thakkar. So this is in India, the Water of Life Foundation. So there's just this guy, when he wrote this, that's where he went first. I don't know where he got onto that path, but he knew in India that they were practicing this and they've already had a good amount of data and research on it. So that's one of the books. There's The Water of Life. There's just a bunch of stuff out there when you start digging. But yeah, he references India a lot in this book.
Right, right. This is interesting. Sometimes just because I'm from India does not mean that I've read everything. And
Sure.
It's nice to know that somebody else has read it and is sharing that knowledge so that we can become more aware about what knowledge lies around us. And it's not just about us. It's, I think, everywhere. It's a global phenomenon. Somebody else has to do that research and then tell you about how exactly we are in the amidst of all the knowledge, all the understanding of our own body that needs to be just read, understood, and decided to be followed.
Yeah, certainly.
Right. And thank you for, going through this research, whether right or wrong, I don't know. I'm not qualified enough, but at least we are putting out it for the world to do their own research, own understanding, and maybe you never know what works for one. Even for a lot of things that we use today, we don't know about the good of all things, and later on we come to know it was not good. So many things look not so good, but they can actually be very good. So it's all about individual choices, Kyle. But it is nice to know that you are not just only talking about an unconventional life, but you are also following it.
Oh yeah, that's the key.
My last question to you, Kyle, is that following this life, you have a great family. I read about it. I've seen some of the pictures on your social media handles. what is it now through this unconventional life? Where do you see yourself in future? Where is it? What is it that you seek for yourself now?
For me personally, what I seek is just more inner wisdom. It's my spiritual evolution, evolving, right? And I look at it almost like life is almost kind of like a video game. Each level you get to is going to be harder. There's going to be new challenges. And I know the outer manifestation, right? The material stuff, that stuff comes when you focus on what you can give to the world, right? So that's my focus is develop myself as a human being as far as I possibly can and just continue to share that. And whatever comes of that, which I know will all be positive because of the intention of where it's coming from my heart, it'll just continue to open all these doors for me and my family. And we get to meet some really cool people. We get to have a lot of great experiences. And I really attribute that to just continuing to live an unconventional life. And the people that want to listen to my message will listen, and the other people, hey, it's no hard feelings. It doesn't mean that we're not friends. It just means, hey, maybe I'm not your cup of tea right now. So to me, it's that vision quest. Just continue to evolve and see what I can do by the end of my life. What type of impact I can have on the world.
Wonderful, wonderful. On this note, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much, AJ. That was a lot of fun, buddy.